Welcome to the BFL Footy Show, brought to you, of course, by McDonald's and Ballarat Toyota. Sean Kelly's my name in the host chair, and it feels quite awkward to be doing the introductions this week. Aaron Nunn joining us this week, of course, the BFL Operations Manager, and with Liam not here, it feels different being in the big chair, although I do quite like it. It's quite comfortable.
Thanks for having me on again, Shawnee, and all the best to Braze if you're watching. He's gone home with a man flu, and apparently he's not in too good a shape.
He wasn't looking good at all. He was given that bit of hangdog expression, that little bit of feel sorry for me, boys kind of stuff when he walked in this morning, and it was, I've got to go home, boys, I'm not good.
I've only seen him cry 7 or 8 times, but this was probably one of the most severe times I've seen him cry. So.
Yeah, it wasn't good, so Braids, get better and harden up, princess. Let's have a look, Nunny, at last week's games, because there were some big games throughout the BFL landscape. We'll start with the game between Dolly and Sebastopol. Up at Dolly Park on Saturday, Dolly 19-13-127, defeating Sebast 2 goals 7-19. 5 goals each to Dwayne Edwards and Reece Ellis for Dolly, and 2 each to Jake Edwards and Travis Minns. Just the 2 goals on the weekend, as we said, for Sebastopol, Lukey Parker and Michael Powell slotting those. Best players for Dolly: Ellis, Hanson, Hitchings, Drew Edwards, Dwayne Edwards and Jake Edwards. And for Sebastopol, their better players: Kane, Stewart, Baxter, Wilkinson, Parker and Van Gils. Big percentage booster for Dolly, which is exactly what they needed, because if they've got fixings on third spot, they had to improve that percentage. It's now better than Redan's.
Absolutely. They're sitting pretty at the moment, and they've just got to keep winning. If they do, they give themselves every opportunity to finish as high up on the ladder as they possibly can. Second spot's not out of reach for the Devils this year, so it's pretty exciting times for them. They're really starting to come good, but a couple of early losses at the start of the season. One to Ballarat, one to East Point. Could they come back and bite them in the bum?
One to Sunbury, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting end to the season.
Certainly will be. Another match, a very close one on the weekend up at McPherson Park in Melton, between Melton and Lake Wendouree. Lakers got the jump on them. They led by 32 points at quarter time, but Melton worked their way back into the game, although couldn't quite work it enough, because at siren time it was Lake Wendouree 11-10-76 defeating Melton 11-7-73. Angus Kirby 4 goals for the Lakers on the weekend, 2 each to Tumanello, Aringo and Joe Black. For Melton, Darren Havey kicked 4 goals, Paul Davis kicked 2. Best players for the Lakers: Barnes, Madden, Kirby, Black, Aringo and Clifton. And for Melton, Jakey Gleeson, Ryan Davis, Dylan Sharp, Robinson, Dixon and Thomas. Get out of jail card used by the Lakers in this one, it looks like, Nutty.
Yeah, and it's going to be one of those seasons for the Lakers, I think. A fair few missed opportunities. They certainly could have finished higher and probably pushed for that 6th spot if they had grabbed a couple of those games at the start of the season.
Mm-hmm.
These games are fantastic for their confidence and just to keep guys interested for next year. But both teams, Lake Wendouree and Melton, just playing out the rest of the season. Obviously, they mathematically still can make finals, but with the run homes that both teams have, I don't think it's going to happen. But look, a great effort by Lake Wendouree to hold on to a fast finishing Melton side, who I think has improved significantly since the start of the season.
Some good signs for the Lakers as well. That 6-goal first quarter, doing really well, and the performance of some of the younger players in Link Barnes and Angus Kirby, who have been fantastic in recent weeks, and again took another step on Saturday.
Absolutely, and Scotty Carey keeps telling us in the office how much they're missing him at the moment too. So
which obviously they aren't, because they won.
Well, pretty much.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Ken Coach, we heard in the background from a certain S. Carey that's sitting here watching the show live this week. Sunbury taking on Bacchus Marsh on the weekend, and I was at this game for about the first 15 minutes of the game. It looked like it was going to be fairly even. Bacchus Marsh were looking pretty good. Michael Subin, I reckon, had 13 touches in the first 15 minutes of the game. Then all of a sudden it was like Sunbury clicked. They figured out what Bacchus Marsh were doing, and from there on in it was a procession for the Lions. 18-16-124 defeating Bacchus Marsh 7-6-48. 4 goals to Jay Cheap on the weekend, 3 to Ross Slight and Simon Clark, and two to Andrew Duhow for the Lions. For Bacchus Marsh, just the one multiple goal kicker on the weekend. Deck Fireland booted 2 for the Cobras. Best for Sunbury: Cheap, Medcraft, Kovacevic, Duhow, Kunick and Slight. And for Bacchus Marsh, their better players: Wilson, Shea, Subin, Filan, McNay and Del Papa. There were some pretty ominous signs coming from this Sunbury lineup on the weekend, Nunny. They're starting to get back to their best, I reckon.
From a team who has had a wretched run with injuries this season too. So, really good signs for them. I think their game plan is starting to come together. Kovacevic back into the side has been a huge plus for their team. It provides that extra support up forward for Simon Clark, who has obviously had his problems with injuries throughout the course of the year. Interesting to note, some of the comments made by Coach Rick Horwood in the media during the week were maybe rubbed a few people at Bacchus Marsh up the wrong way. But Rick, as he does, he's speaking his mind and just saying what he thought, how he felt the game went on the weekend. Which there's nothing wrong with that. So Bacchus Marsh are an up and coming side, and they've obviously gone down by 75 odd points to Sunbury. Signs looking pretty good for back-to-back.
Oh, they are indeed. And it was the first time I'd seen Sunbury since their game against North City up at Clark Oval, and they just looked a completely different side, having Ross Slight, Simon Clark and Jack Sullivan up forward as well. As you said, Kovacevic will flick down there and after the bye when Paddy Karras comes back from a quad injury as well. So signs looking very, very good for Sunbury at the moment. And you mentioned Rick's comments. There wasn't many that he missed, because I listened to him after the game as well, where he was talking about playing on a cow paddock the week before out at Wendouree Reserve and just basically tarring everyone with a pretty broad brush. So well done to Rick, who of course is the AFL, the Goldfields AFCA's Coach of the Month for July 2013. So well done to you, Meatloaf, on that one. And then on Sunday, probably the biggest result of the round and arguably one of the biggest of the season at the Eastern Oval, as East Point 13-7-85 defeated North City 7-13-55. 5 goals to Dan Jordan, 94 he's on for the year at the moment, and I suppose it was probably the quietest 5-goal game I've seen from a bloke in a long, long time. 2 each to Sammy Kitchen and Brent Fitzpatrick as well. North City all single goal kickers, which you can see on the screen at the moment. Best players for East Point, Kodorenko, Tung, Delaney, Nick Hind, Bart Phillips and Chris Banwell. And for North City, McNamara, George, McCartan, Cartledge, Jones and Ryan Luke. Really good performance by East Point. They kicked the first 3 goals of the game, and their pressure, I thought, was what won them the game. They just didn't let up on North City all day, forcing North City to make some pretty simple skill errors, which we haven't seen all year from them.
Absolutely, and North Borough City haven't put a foot wrong all year.
No.
This is the first time I think we've started to see a chink in the armour, and there's probably another 5 sides sitting below them that are thinking now, you beauty, some people subscribe to the theory that you need to have a loss during the course of the year. I don't subscribe to that. I think you need to go out there and try and win every single game, and I think people at North Borough City would have to agree with that too. They want to go out there and try and win every single game. East Point's found a way to beat them on the weekend, and I'm sure there'll be a couple of clubs that will be, fairly heavily scrutinising the videotape from that game online. BFNL.tv. Jump on and have a look at it. I'm sure they'll be having a good look at that game from the weekend, just to see where they're down, where their weaknesses are, and where they can actually exploit North Borough City, who have been super all year.
They have indeed, yeah. And those coaches that are looking to scrutinise the performance, hang on for about 3 or 4 minutes as well, because we've got an interview with Dan Jordan coming up very shortly that took place directly after the win against North Ballarat City. But let's have a look at the ladder before we do that, Nunny. Of course, North City still remain on top of the ladder despite the loss on the weekend. 12 wins, 1 loss. They are sitting pretty a game clear on top of the ladder. Sunbury sits second at the moment, 12 wins and 2 losses. They're a game clear of Redan in 3rd spot. Then there's another game back to 2 sides, Dolly and East Point in 4th and 5th. As you can see, and we mentioned it before, Dolly's percentage is better than Redan's at the moment. Of course, it's a huge game coming up this weekend between Dolly and East Point. Then we look at 6th and 7th spots. Ballarat on 32 points in 6th spot. Melton South on 28 points in 7th spot. That's another huge game this weekend that we'll talk about very shortly. And then Bacchus Marsh on 24, Lake Wendouree on 20, Melton on 12, and Sebastopol yet to open their account on the 4 points they earned from the bye earlier this season. Republic Clothing Player of the Week this week, Nate? Angus Kirby from the Lake Wendouree Football Netball Club, one of his best games for the season on the weekend. 4 goals, one of the Lakers' best players, and really a reward for probably a really good consistent 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, well done, Curbs. Apparently he's been taking a few hints from Scotty Carey at training, and that's made all the difference from what we've been told.
Well, I don't know about that, because
I'm going to go by what Scotty's been telling me.
Gus is training, so any hints at the moment from Scotty are coming from the sidelines.
Yeah, well, that's all what Scotty tells me. We can only believe.
We can only go on that, can't we? And we'll see also, before we get into Dan Jordan, though, the McDonald's Goal of the Week segment. It's been going gangbusters in recent weeks, Nunny. We've got 3 absolute rippers this week to show you. Firstly, we'll see Brent Fitzpatrick from the East Point Football Club, then Joe Black from Lake Wendouree and Ross Slate from Sunbury. 3 of the better goals you'll see, so let's have a look at those now.
Oh, God, Colonel. Oh, it's on right. Right snap. Yep.
Same bloke as there, didn't
Yeah, it was.
Great snap. That's 2 real good snaps.
Some pretty good goals there in our McDonald's goal of the week segment, Nunny. Pretty handy ones.
Not bad, yeah. Bit basic slidey, that one there. It was good what happened
more
beforehand.
Clarkie's little over the top.
But I won't win it, surely.
No, you never know. We'll wait and see towards the end of the year.
That was a good goal, slidey, but Jesus, it's not going to win the goal of the year, for God's sake.
Let's have a look at some netball from the weekend. 4 games and all of them pretty important over the weekend. Sebastopol 33 defeating Dolly 28. Good win by Sebastopol, one that they probably wouldn't have penciled in at the start of the year.
The Borough have improved remarkably. They're playing some really good netball at the moment. They're very competitive and it's fantastic to see.
It certainly is. Melton 31 defeating Lake Wendouree 10. Interesting weather conditions out at Melton. I've heard that some shots went up and basically went straight back over the shooter's head. So
very windy
tough day
out
for
at
netball.
McPherson Park, and Lake Wendouree just holding on to their spot in 6th place.
They are indeed. Sunbury 63 defeating Bacchus Marsh 28. Pretty good job done by full strength Sunbury on the weekend.
Lines are running very nicely at the moment, going well.
And the 1v2 game at the Eastern Oval on Sunday, North City 47 defeating East Point 39. Pretty good game, pretty physical game, and something that we'll see come finals, I reckon.
A bit of a fizzer in the end. I thought it would have been a hell of a lot closer than that. East Point would be very disappointed to have lost by that margin, but they're not unbeatable, North City, as Sunbury proves.
That's exactly right. Let's have a look at the ladder, which sees North City sitting on top of the ladder. Just the one loss for the season, 56 points. Melton move into second with their win. They're on 52 points, percentage clear of East Point in third. Sunbury half a game back from them in 4th spot, so they're still very much in the double chance hunt are the Lions. Redan are in 5th with 38 points. Lake Wendouree in 6th with 28 points. Redan are definitely safe. You'd think the Lakers are safe. Dolly in 7th with 24 points. They're only a game behind, but they haven't got the form line at the moment to play finals. Sebastopol move up to 8th this week, the highest they've been on the ladder in a number of years, so well done Boroughs. And then Bacchus Marsh, Melton South and Ballarat. Some interesting games this week. We go back to a 1v2 game with North Ballarat taking on Melton this week at Mackey Park, Nunny. And then at the other end of the ladder, Melton South play Ballarat with both teams looking for their first win.
Yeah, interesting. How can that happen when they played each other at the start of the year?
40-all draw in round 5.
Didn't they? So 2 very even sides there. Just clicked with that. Sorry about that.
Good work.
Yeah. But look, it's going to be an interesting round of netball. Our netball competition is fantastic at the moment, very even, and anyone on their day can knock each other off. And it's just good to see a few new teams spending some time at the top and a few new ones spending some time at the bottom.
There is indeed, and that adage, any team can knock any other off, also rings true in the BFL football ranks, as we saw over the weekend with East Point inflicting the first loss of the season on North Ballarat City. We caught up with East Point coach Dan Jordan after the game to chat about that, and of course his upcoming tilt at 100 goals for the season. Here with East Point coach Dan Jordan after their win against North Ballarat City today, mate. Congratulations on the win. It's your first real big scalp for the season.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, we've struggled a bit coming up against the top couple of sides. In previous encounters, particularly North City round 1 when we got smashed. So for the boys to come back and execute a win today, fantastic for them, and hopefully they get some good belief out of it.
Some really impressive signs today. I thought your pressure on the North City ball carriers all day was first rate. It's what got you going. You were first in for the ball in the middle of the ground, and it all kind of flowed in from there.
Yeah, look, we asked for just manic pressure at the start of the day, and and to their, we do that on occasions, but we've probably dropped off throughout games. Whereas today, I thought they pretty much executed it for 4 quarters, which is what needed. And obviously, North City are pretty strong around the ball. Our midfield group, the pressure was on them, and I thought they stuck at the task admirably, as well as sacrificial playing for each other, and some really, really hard physical in and under contests. So it was a great effort by them.
Backline also very impressive. We know what happened in round 1. Derek Micallef got away from you, kicked 10 goals today. Today, no goals at all. Fantastic job by your defenders. I thought Bart Phillips was fantastic. Nick Hine did a really good job as well, and I thought Jake Dunn did a good close down role too.
Yeah, I thought the whole backline was sensational today, mate. It's probably the first time I've seen them really gel together and play. Those guys have played some good individual games, but I thought as a back 6 they were terrific today, which was obviously pretty important for us. They've got some dangerous avenues to goal, and we needed them to play for each other. And yeah, as you say, there's a couple of dangerous players down there that were probably relatively quiet and went a long way to us winning the game.
Forward line pressure really helped today. A lot of your goals early on came out of the forward stoppages on the half-forward flank and everything like that. Brent Fitzpatrick, blokes like that were really good today at keeping the ball in your forward area and getting goal opportunities that way.
Yeah, no doubt. It was really slippery in that, sort of after it was quarter time in the second and third quarters. So you're never out of the contest when it's really greasy pill. So I'll just emphasise that to run hard, get to every contest, even if you think you're not going to get there, and try and put some real forward line pressure on these guys and see what happens in the conditions. So obviously with the greasy ball, we've got to get lucky sometimes, but it doesn't happen without the effort getting put in. I think those guys I've mentioned and a few others with Kitchen and Hind, a few other guys, their forward line pressure was terrific, and obviously put the pressure back on North, and we even got a few goals out of it, which was fantastic.
Did you get a bit worried at the start of that final quarter? You went into three-quarter time 3 or 4 goals up, and you had some chances to really drive that nail in the first 10 minutes, I suppose, of the last quarter, and couldn't do so. Yep. At that stage, did you get a little bit worried knowing what North City are capable of?
I never really got worried because I thought we actually had the ascendancy on them all day. I really did. But obviously we know how good a side they are. But we had a couple of easy chances probably in the first 5 minutes to kick a couple home. But to their credit, the boys stuck to their task and they really closed up the game. Try not to let them break free, that sort of thing. So and then when we sort of get to about 20-minute mark, I thought we're a chance here, and we even got a couple ourselves. I think they kicked a couple as well, but it was probably pretty much all over. So it was a good team effort and a job well done from the side.
You threw Hayden Walters behind the ball to start that final quarter as well. Was that just kind of a preventative maintenance measure?
Not really, mate. They actually pushed Nicholas up onto the wing.
Okay.
So Phillips followed him up there. I think they were trying to use his wing and run a bit. So we pushed H back, and H is one of those guys that is a bit unfortunate in that he's very good everywhere he plays. So he gets thrown around a little bit. I can play him on ball, forward or back, and he had a good last quarter, as did the rest of the back line. But just a really solid team effort, I thought, mate. And we can take some belief out of it, and obviously move on to Dolly next week.
Sets up a huge game, as you just mentioned, against Dolly next week. You did get them here early on in the season, but they're a different side at the moment. They've won their last 7 games, and like you, they're really looking for maybe a slip above you to take that 3rd position.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be a cracking game. So they're playing some excellent footy. They've knocked off Sunbury and Redan and Sebastopol in their last 3, I think. So they're up and about, and hopefully we can take some good confidence out of it today and hit the ground running next week. And let's see if we can we had a fantastic game down there in the last round last year. I'll be expecting probably something pretty similar. At the business end of the season. So the boys have got obviously a shorter recovery this week, so they'll need to look after themselves and really move past today, obviously, which has gone already, and look towards next week already. So.
Another 5 goals for you today, puts you on 94 for the season. Is the 100 something that's in the back of the mind? Obviously, it's not your focus at the moment. You want team success will be the focus, but it has to be in the back of the mind a little bit.
To be honest, mate, not really. I haven't even thought about it. If it happens, it happens. I'm just trying to get out there and play every week. I've played enough footy now, mate, to try and appreciate every sort of quarter I'm out there, to be honest, because I've had some fairly horrific injuries over the last sort of couple of years. So every quarter I'm out there is a bonus, and if I can have an impact for the side, that's great. I was happy with my efforts today in greasy conditions, but just playing a role for the team and trying to create and that sort of thing as well. Obviously, it'll get talked about, but I haven't talked too much. I haven't even sort of thought about it, mate, because it's out of my control. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, so be it.
Dan, congratulations, mate. Well done on the win today, and good luck in the coming weeks.
Thanks, Shawnee. Cheers, mate.
Dan Jordan from the East Point Football Club after their good win against North City, and just thinks that if the 100 happens, it happens. He's only got 6 to go. He's got 2 games to do it in. Surely it's over the line, and surely if it comes to that, he needs that 1 goal against Bacchus Marsh in round 18. The instructions will be get around me at the opening bounce.
Back to normality for DJ. He's kicked 100 on 2 or 3 occasions in the past already, and he's definitely going to do it again this year.
Let's have a look at this week's games, because some pretty big games on the BFL landscape this weekend. Ballarat taking on Melton South, and it's very much almost a case of win this game, play finals. It's very much an elimination final at Alfredton on the weekend.
It is, and both teams know how important this game is. Obviously, heading into the game from the last time they played against each other, no Lee Burke for Melton South.
Yep.
Mitch Rod didn't play that game either for Ballarat, so he's back in the team. Ballarat should be full strength. Melton South is still travelling all right though, so they've got a key forward who is in super touch at the moment in Matty Sutton. It's a shame that it is his last season, because I think the big fella can go on. He's good enough.
Agreed.
So have a rethink, Matty, but I don't think he's going to. But he's playing some super footy this season, and to get the amount of goals that they've got out of him has just been an absolute bonus. And look, last time they played, Melton South midfield absolutely smashed Ballarat, so that's where Ballarat will need to pick up if they're going to win this game. Melton South are a huge chance of winning this one. Obviously, I think Ballarat will win, but it won't be by much.
And a big inclusion in the Ballarat 2s I hear this week as well. The number 2's making a return.
Probably not.
Probably not.
We better hold off.
Not what he's been telling us all week so far. He said, come down, get around, I'm going to kick 10 this week. I'm coming back and
12.
bigger and better than ever. Sorry, 12. Second game we'll have a look at this week, probably match of the round. Dolly are taking on East Point. Pretty much the loser of this game will finish in 5th spot this year. The winner, still very much a top 3 and even a top 2 chance.
Absolutely. These two sides are very difficult to split, especially in the form that they're both in heading into this game. They're playing some fantastic footy. East Point will be, running on top of the ground on cloud 9 after obviously knocking off the undefeated North Ballarat City. So if they bring that game plan and that style of play to the game this weekend, they'll beat Dolly. But Dolly playing some fantastic footy as well. I'd give the advantage to Dolly simply because it's at home in this one. And
in case you missed the scrolling banner across the top of the screen just then, this game will be live on 979 FM throughout the Melton area. We'll put a link to it on the BFL website as well. So if you can't make it to this one, you'll be able to catch every kick on the radio throughout the day. Of course, East Point winning against Dolly earlier this year, as we saw, but it's a whole different kettle of fish at Dolly Park. Melton nearly got over the line last weekend against Lake Wendouree, I should say, but they've got a big task this weekend, and it's something that no other BFL sides had to encounter this year, Nunny. North City on the rebound.
Yeah, they're going to be angry. I actually spoke to Mitch Jenkins from the North Ballarat City Footy Club today, and he said that their training session last night was one of the more difficult ones that he's been put through. So obviously Robbie was very disappointed with the way they performed on the weekend. He's put the boys through the paces on Tuesday night. They'll obviously freshen up tomorrow night and try and head into the game breathing fire, which I think they will do. It's going to be difficult for Melton to get up on this one. I can't see them losing back-to-back.
Last match of the round here at the Mars City Oval this weekend. Redan taking on Lake Wendouree, and very much a game where if Redan don't go in 100% ready to go, Lakers could really surprise them.
Scotty Carey come back through the 2s from all reports too. He just needs
if he comes back, he reckons he might save himself for Sebastopol, play himself forward in that game and try and get a bag in the last game of the year.
Him and Braids probably need to have a bit of a cuddle with each other and try and get themselves back up and about. But look, no.
Back to the topic.
Back to the topic. Redan, playing some more right footy, and I think they should account for Lake Wendouree. A very improved Lake Wendouree, mind you. They should be too good for them.
And of course, Bacchus, Marsh, Sebastopol and Sunbury with the buys this weekend, putting their feet up for Sunbury before finals, and Bacchus, Marsh and Sebastopol before the big final 2 weeks of the season. No, thanks for joining us this week, mate.
My pleasure.
Filling in at short notice when Braid stooked it up and went home.
Happy to help out wherever I can.
No, you've done very, very well. And thanks for joining us once again on the BFL Footy Show this week, brought to you by McDonald's and Ballarat Toyota. We'll be back next week with all of the action from around the Ballarat Football Netball League. We'll see you then. Go Lakers!
This week in the Red Onion Creative Ballarat Football League. The Red Onion Creative Ballarat Football League. Brought to you by Red Onion Creative, McDonald's, the Win Network, and these sponsors.